What is going on, everybody? I am the FD Guru, bringing to you guys a Thursday NBA edition of my DFS podcast. We have a small 4-game slate tonight, a bunch of injuries though. Right before I was about to do this video, we got the news that the Lakers are sitting LeBron and AD tonight in Boston. So now we have some extra usage from the Lakers, although that game is now turned into a major blowout risk without the Lakers stars on the road. They're 14-point dogs now. We'll get into that in this video. As I usually do, 5 plays for each position. 1 for each position, I should say. And we are, in a great run right now. Last night was a little bit weird. You had to have my Twitter notifications on. I try to avoid this as much as possible, but last night we needed to make a pivot with DeAndre Jordan out, so hopefully you saw that. I do know, it's not a 100% success rate. People go on about their nights, so I try not to change, but we had to change last night. So, the hybrid group got my, message to change. We had to move Wembanyama to center for DeAndre Jordan and downgrade. Not downgrade, just kind of did a swap with Peyton Watson and DeAndre Jordan because Watson was starting, Jordan wasn't. All the projections and, everything I looked at yesterday had DeAndre Jordan starting as the only big guy for the Nuggets without Jokic, but they ended up going a little bit small, and it worked out for him, although they did lose in OKC. But DeAndre Jordan ended up getting a DNP, did not play a single minute, was able to swap off of him in hybrid and GBP. GBP, it didn't matter. The team didn't do well. The cash team had DeAndre Jordan. I had nowhere to go because Kawhi Leonard had already started. I had him on there, and we didn't have Wembanyama, who's able to flex to center. So we had no center pivot. I was hoping Jordan would play off the bench. He didn't, got a 0. The cash team still cashed in 50-50s with a 0 from DeAndre Jordan. So still a pretty successful night. I profited. Hopefully you guys did too. Getting a lot of news earlier in the day today, so hopefully we don't run into that. Very, very rarely do I make, lineup updates when the slate is already locked. But, yesterday when DeAndre Jordan wasn't in that starting lineup, we knew it was going to be very risky to play him and that he could easily play no minutes, which he did. So let's look at this slate here. I like the value. It's interesting. We got, that island game in Utah. Great matchup for the Sixers. We do know Embiid is out, so that's at least helpful. Tyrese Maxey is questionable, and if we don't get that news before lock, Tyrese Maxey is in a smash spot tonight against Utah if he plays. If we don't know if he's playing, though, you can't really roster him because say, 9 o'clock Eastern comes along and 3 of the 4 games have already started and you need to swap off a Maxey because he's not in, you're going to have no one to go to at the guard position for Maxey. So I'm probably just going to fade all of the Sixers guards. There is one guy I'm going to get to in this video. But let's get into things here. I like Scottie Pippen again for the Grizzlies. He should be starting. Derrick Rose is, doubtful, although there was a note today that he is progressing back. Luke Kennard doubtful, so we know Scottie Pippen's going to find his way in that starting lineup once again. 4,700 is not expensive enough. They clearly like to play this guy more than Jacob Gilyard. He's seen a lot more run when the opportunities have presented themselves. We saw a great game against the Kings when he started in his extra usage. 31 minutes, 31 fantasy points. He was a fantasy point per minute guy, as we've seen in a very small sample in his young NBA career with the Grizzlies. When he gets the minutes, he is a fantasy point per minute guy. Maybe not against Indiana, 17 and 10, but we saw at Miami 24 minutes, 29 fantasy points, and then last game 31 and 31. So if he's getting 30 minutes again, we can project him out for 28 to 30 fantasy points, and at 4,700, he only needs 23 to hit value. So he's going to look like a very popular and, good-looking value play at point guard tonight against the Cavs. Just a good all-around play with the Grizzlies so shorthanded. Shooting guard, I'm going to still pick Dante DiVincenzo. I love these Knicks again. The prices have gone up a little bit. It's still not high enough to scare me off of DiVincenzo. He has been an absolute stud in the 2 games without Julius Randle. We can't expect this to continue. 44 and 60 fantasy points. He's playing all the minutes he can handle, though. We can project him for, 36 to 40 minutes tonight. 7,200, he needs 36 fantasy points to hit value. I do think he gets that. We can easily project him out for mid-30s in fantasy points tonight. And not only do the Knicks have, ultimate usage once again with no Julius Randle, they have just a premier matchup against the Indiana Pacers. They're at home too. It's a high over-under. Not quite sure what the spread is. Let me double check. 2.5 point spread. The Knicks are favorited. So this looks like all around just the best game to pick from tonight over the 4 games on this main slate. I like DiVincenzo, multi-positional eligibility. His price, it's getting there to being correct. It's honestly pretty correct tonight, but the matchup is great. We only have 8 teams playing. He looks like a nice middle to upper tier spend up at shooting guard and small forward. And then for small forward, we're going to stick with the Knicks here. By the way, if you can get Brunson in your lineup, go for it. We all know what he can do against the Pacers with no Randle. I wanted to, stay cheap with Scottie Pippen. Small forward, I like Josh Hart. Now, his price didn't really go up enough. He was like 6,100 last slate, I think. Now he's 65. He should be closer to 7K here. Same spot as DiVincenzo. Third usage guy behind Brunson and DiVincenzo with no Randle. He has, gotten over 30 fantasy points in the 3 games where he started and seen extra run. Played 42 minutes in regulation against Utah last game. We can project him for 36 to 42 minutes tonight. He's just going to play so much as a starter on the Knicks. He needs 32 fantasy points to hit value. I think he gets that. He looks like a phenomenal value play here tonight on FanDuel. Can play small forward and power forward. So, all aspects of Josh Hart look really good on this slate. Power forward, we are going to take advantage of Anthony Davis and LeBron being out now. I don't like the idea of going to D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves because we have a blowout risk and they're pretty expensive now. Russell 7,600 for good reason. He's going to have a lot of usage tonight and he's coming off of, he had a really good stretch for, 6 games. Coming off of a really bad game against Atlanta. Don't love this spot in a blowout risk game against the Celtics. Celtics have a good defense. Now, if you wanted to put him in a GBP, if this game stays close, it's going to be because D'Angelo Russell and or Austin Reeves are playing well. I don't like the idea of it, especially with a guy like DiVincenzo a little bit cheaper. Austin Reeves is 6,800 now. Just expensive. I know LeBron and AD are out, but it's just too expensive in a risky blowout. But I do like getting to Rui Hachimura. I mean, that's a tongue twister. We all know I suck with names, but he should be starting here. Last game, LeBron played, AD was out. Rui, I think, came off the bench because Jackson Hayes started for AD. Jackson Hayes is now 4,500. I don't love that as much. I like Rui at 4,900. He's going to see a ton of usage on this Lakers team. Again, there is a blowout risk, but you're not really sacrificing a ton of salary with a guy like Rui. 4,900 needs 24 fantasy points to hit value. When he gets the minutes, he can cook. Last 2 games, 22 and 23 minutes, hitting value at 26 and 26 fantasy points. He should see a few extra minutes tonight with no LeBron and AD. Looks really, really good. Also, a multi-positional guy at power forward and small forward. And then for center, I am going to get my Sixers usage here with Paul Reed. He should see a ton, 6,200. Now, Mo Bamba will be the backup tonight. You can honestly look at him too. 4,200, probably will play 18 to 22 minutes off the bench, can easily be a fantasy point per minute guy. He's going to be less popular than Paul Reed, so if you wanted to get lower ownership, it's a higher risk, higher reward type play. with Mo Bamba, especially there's always a chance Paul Reed gets into foul trouble, doesn't play well, and Bamba ends up seeing more minutes than Paul Reed. But I'm going to go with the safer bet here. Paul Reed as the starter at Utah. Fantastic matchup. Again, the news of Tyrese Maxey doesn't really affect Paul Reed. Completely different positions. We do know Joel Embiid is out, so we know Paul Reed's going to start, and he can play a ton of minutes. He's going to project out for 24 to 26 minutes tonight, and if he plays really well, they have no problem running him a ton. Just because he's a backup, you don't really need to save his energy. You have Joel Embiid, who's going to be back. Paul Reed, 42 minutes at Denver a few games ago for 53 fantasy points. He's a great fantasy point per minute guy when he starts in the absence of Joel Embiid. He looks like the best center value on the board tonight. He needs 31 fantasy points. We can project him for that. Going to be most likely pretty popular. Center is not a great position tonight. Siakam at New York has a good upside, especially with Halliburton being, limited. He's only going to play 24 minutes. So you could look at Siakam. I like Hartenstein. He was on a minutes limit. They said he was only going to play 25 minutes on Tuesday. He ended up playing 29. So that tells us that he is, basically fully back. We can project him for 30 minutes tonight at 7,500 with no Julius Randle in a great matchup against the Pacers. I might be getting to Hartenstein on a tournament lineup. He presents great upside. We know what he can do. He looks good. He could easily get a double-double tonight against this Pacers defense that is very bad all around. So Hartenstein can play power forward and center. He looks pretty good, but for the sake of this video, I do like Paul Reed at 6,200. That'll do it for this video, guys. A lot of cheaper plays here tonight. We can spend up on the limited studs that we have. Only a 4-game slate, and we don't have the 3 most expensive guys playing, Embiid, Davis, and LeBron all out. But looks like we can have some fun spending up on guys. Let's stay hot here. Definitely get over to my website, fd-guru.com, for all my DraftKings and FanDuel content about 30 minutes before lock. We have a later 7:30 Eastern lock time tonight, so things will be up, anywhere from 6:45 to 7, maybe even 7:15, but, usually around 7 o'clock, 30 minutes before lock. Let's get after it, though. Give this video a like, subscribe, put my alerts on. Until next time, I am the FD Guru. Peace.